Welcome to the digitization module. In this particular module, we want to give you an overview of what we mean by digitization. In this module, we are going to look at what digitization is, as well as the technologies that are found in education, and we'll move on to look at the benefits that can be realized through the integration of technology in teaching, learning, as well as in assessment. We'll finish the module by looking at the barriers that affect the integration of technology, because together we'll realize that the benefits, once implemented, are actually very revolutionary in education and promote the achievement of learning outcomes. But the question we're going to ask ourselves and try to answer is, why is it not as prevalent as it is supposed to, since the benefits are so clear? Why is there a little integration in Zambia, for example? Why is there a little technology integration in classrooms? So we'll look at those barriers that impact on the integration of technology, and also try to discuss briefly on what can be done to overcome those barriers so that technology can still be integrated despite the very real challenges that the module will discuss. Digitization is a process of changing tangible content into intangible or soft copy content. It can be as basic as typing hard copy notes into soft copy, a simple word process document, but ideally, as you digitize content in education, you should also ensure that the type of content that you are producing is engaging to learners. It should be made in such a way and include various types of multimedia so that it's able to foster what we call self-paced learning. This learning content can have various formats, can have images, videos, audios, interactive activities, and so many other things as discussed in the previous module. But the idea is that as you are digitizing content, you should be able to create dynamic and interactive lessons which are able to teach learners from wherever they are. As you are digitizing content, there are various technologies that are available to you. According to the ECDO Foundation, there are computers, and this looks at all types of computers. From the complex servers that provide web servers for network connectivity, file servers, and so on, to the phones, smartphones that we can use to create content and also disseminate content to learners, to desktops, to laptops, and so on. We have various devices, peripherals, we have various networks, application tools, as well as the content itself. All these can be utilized in education to ensure that it is engaging and it's able to teach the learners from wherever they are. Now let's look at the benefits. And as I mentioned in the overview, we are going to look at specific aspects of education and how technologies enhance those specific areas. So let us begin with teaching. Number one, in teaching, ICTs can enable teachers to use a variety of traditional and new teaching strategies such as learner-centered, collaborative, project-based teaching, and flipped classroom. By flipped classroom, we are looking at a technique where what is traditionally viewed as homework is done within the classroom, while the learning of concepts is done away from the classroom. So for example, if I'm running a home economics lesson and I want to teach my students on how to bake a Victoria cake, I can give them a video of how the Victoria cake is baked. The video ideally should show the measurements, the equipment to be used, and that video can be watched by the learners outside of the classroom. And then when they come into the classroom, what should have been homework traditionally, I will provide the environment, I'll take them to the kitchen, provide the stoves and various ingredients, and then I'll allow them to explore how they can actually bake a Victoria cake based on the concepts that they learned outside of the classroom. And the role of the teacher in that particular instance is to provide the learning environment as well as coach and mentor the students as they are testing out those concepts, and be on hand to ensure that you are able to guide the students as and when you are required. Secondly, it improves access to resources. ICT can improve access to teaching resources by enabling teachers to find and share resources more easily. For example, they can share and access resources quickly and easily from wherever they are, whenever they want, using an internet connection. You find a handout which is interesting, you can quickly distribute to colleagues so that they are also able to look at it, evaluate it, and see whether they can actually include it in their own class. You find an interesting video, and so on and so forth. ICTs makes that very easy to do. ICTs also provides a variety of formats. It provides a variety of resource formats that enable the creation of innovative, interactive, and very engaging content. So you can find that within one lesson, you can incorporate a simulation, you can have text, of course, you can have some images, videos, and so on. End of the process, you're able to have content which is able to actually teach and convey the information that you want to the learners. But again, as we are looking at various formats, the idea is not to overload a particular lesson, but to pick content that is going to add value to a particular topic or lesson. ICTs can enhance traditional learning environments through the use of technologies in the classroom, such as display technologies. It can also extend the learning environment to an online environment through the use of internet connections. ICTs can also extend the learning environment to a mobile environment through the use of mobile technologies. You can have a traditional face-to-face learning, give the learners an assignment, and they'll be able to tackle that assignment either using a learning management system, or if you want to be simplistic, or as you are starting up, you can actually create a WhatsApp group for the class, then put content or post content on the group that will allow the students to think beyond what they have learned in the classroom, apply certain things, and then be able to even reach a point where they are able to even create their own knowledge through the use of that particular technology. Now that will mean that the learning is not just taking place within four walls, but it's able to take place outside of a particular classroom. It also affects administration by enriching the administration process. ICT can increase the effectiveness and efficiency of administration, for example, through the use of spreadsheets, databases, LMS, and communication technologies. Last, but certainly not the least, it can support CPD. ICT can support CPD through the use of collaboration and communication technologies. Depending on where you identify gaps as an educator or as an officer, you'll be able to go online and find a lot of rich online courses, most of them free, which you can enroll and actually acquire skills that you can employ in your practice. Most of these courses that are online are free. They may require you to pay when you want to be certified, but if you're just looking at gaining the skills, they are very useful because they'll be able to give you practical skills that you can actually use to change how you teach and how you approach your students, how you approach content creation, and so many other aspects. Benefits to learning. Number one, it improves access. ICT can enable students to access learning at any time, from any location, through the use of internet and mobile technologies. Students can use the internet to find reference materials, take online tutorials, and communicate at any time from any location. And as students are accessing learning from wherever they are, it also enables the integration of a variety of learning strategies. ICT can support a variety of traditional and new learning strategies such as active, independent, collaborative, project-based, and informal learning. It also enables students to choose the pace at which they learn. For example, through the use of e-learning courses or simulations, students can decide the pace that suits them in order for them to learn more effectively. ICT can support different learning styles by providing a variety of formats such as text, images, audio, video, simulations, games, quizzes, and demonstration. As you are aware from your teaching methodologies and other courses, learners normally have different learning styles. There are what we call visual learners who learn by seeing. There are also auditory learners who learn by hearing. And there are also what we call kinesthetic learners who learn by actually engaging in activities. Now, with the integration of technology, it is very possible that these students can be highly engaged because ICT provides the various formats that I've just discussed. ICT can improve motivation and engagement by providing a variety of active and engaging formats such as videos, games, and simulations, as well as enabling students to use tools that they typically use in their free time for learning, such as social media tools. So it helps the students move from what they know and actually incorporate it into their learning processes, and actually you find that that makes them more comfortable and more productive. You actually reach a point where even if the lesson has finished, the students will still want to continue because they are highly engaged, they are highly motivated. I've had instances where you have a class, maybe you give them a gamification quiz. There is so much enjoyment, so much fun that they're having, despite the fact that they're actually being tested. And as a teacher, I'm receiving valuable information on the levels at which they're assimilating content. The students are so highly motivated that they don't even see it as a chore or a task to be learning, but they want to continue even beyond the periods assigned on the timetable. ICT can be used to improve the development of higher order thinking skills, including creativity, innovation, critical thinking, problem solving, communication, and collaboration skills. It also promotes transversal skills, including learning to learn, social and civic, entrepreneurship, and cultural skills by providing tools for collaborative, problem-based, and project-based learning such as search, collaboration, communication, and content creation tools. Benefits in assessment. ICT supports a variety of assessment strategies such as diagnostic, formative, and summative assessment. It can also support formal and informal assessment. On formats, it enables the inclusion of a variety of formats in assessment such as text, images, audio, animation, video, which enables the creation of engaging content. On authenticity, ICT can help make assessment more authentic by incorporating real-world scenarios into assessment. For example, through the use of simulations, virtual worlds, and social media. ICT can enable the provision of immediate and adaptive feedback. For example, in on-screen assessments, students can receive immediate feedback tailored to their responses. It can also enable the reuse of assessment by providing formats that can be reused and shared, such as online quizzes and simulations. This can drastically reduce the workload of teachers. You create a quiz, give a particular class, the same quiz again can be run on another class, and you'll still be able to collect very valuable information. ICT can enable the digital collection of evidence of learning by providing content authoring, management, and sharing tools to document and share learning. It also enables us to assess a wider range of student skills than can typically be assessed in the classroom through the use of different assessment types such as electronic portfolios, simulations, games, and virtual worlds. Last but not least, ICT can improve the submission, marking and storage, and communication of results through the use of spreadsheets, databases, content management systems, and communication tools. We have discussed so many valuable benefits of ICTs, but the question is, how widely integrated is it? When you look at our Zambian context, why aren't ICTs being integrated in education? Why aren't they in every school? As we look at integrating technology in our classroom, we have to be mindful of the fact that there are very, very key barriers that need to be overcome in order for that integration to take place. Let's look at these factors. Number one, dependency on network infrastructure. This refers to the dependency on having good quality internet connections, such as high-speed broadband. Most ICTs depend on internet connectivity. We have offline solutions, but most of them you will discover that if you do not have a good internet connectivity, you will not be able to actually fully utilize that particular technology in the classroom. Dependency on computers and devices. This refers to the dependency on having sufficient number of good quality computers and devices by both the learners and the teachers in order to fully integrate ICTs and technology in the classroom. Availability of appropriate resources. This refers to the availability of age-appropriate, subject-specific, localized, and culturally relevant resources. You may find very good materials will show you how to search for content and do so many other things, but most of the time when you find content, discover handouts, find tutorials, you will discover that they are not in line with the Zambian context and sometimes even the Zambian syllabus. So there is a very big handicap on the availability of resources tailored to the Zambian context. And we hope that with this training, you'll be pioneers in the development of content that is localized, that is of good quality, and that adds value to the Zambian education system. Training and support. This barrier refers to the availability of appropriate technical and pedagogical training and support on how to use ICT effectively in teaching, learning, and assessment. Absence of appropriate training and support for teachers can affect the level of the teacher's confidence in using ICT, which can become a barrier to using ICT. I have observed some lessons where you find a student or a trainee teacher wants to use technology, then they forget maybe one or two things. They try to, for example, switch on the projector, it does not switch on. The students are looking at the teacher is looking at the students. Next thing you see is the projector is put on the side and they go back to business as usual. That is a very big barrier to the integration of technology. Ideally, as you are starting out in the integration of technology, there should be support available. If something does not work, there should be a person or an office that you go to and they should be able to assist. In an ideal world, you find that even before you start teaching, you will find that things have already been set up for you. The only thing you do is utilize them. Students are unable to log in, there's an administrator and so on, but we know that on the ground that is not always possible. So it is recommended that before you even go and integrate technology in the classroom, practice. Set up before the lesson. Make the mistakes before the students arrive so that as they are coming, you're already ready to go. Just a side note on how we can overcome at least this particular barrier, looking at what is on the ground in terms of lack of support, technical support that is, and assistance. Last but not least, lack of awareness of the benefits of ICT. This refers to a lack of awareness among school staff, students, and parents about the benefits of using ICT in teaching, learning, and assessment, which can result in a lack of motivation to use ICTs. Because of one or two challenges, you may find that some people would even rather act as though the technology does not exist or they do not need it at all. When in fact, we have seen so many benefits and so many good things that the technology can do in education. Thank you so much for your time. So in today's small presentation, we're just trying to introduce what we mean by digitization and also focus on the technologies used in education and the benefits specifically to teaching, learning and assessment, and also bear in mind some barriers or pitfalls that may negate the integration of technology in the classroom, and we also brainstorm briefly on how those can be overcome. Thank you so much for your attention. Enjoy the rest of the module.